Among Us was even a thing. So that's you know.
That's a good comparison.
Sure.
Thanks,
There you
guys.
go.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I guess.
I'm smart.
Here we go. Look at this.
I'm smart.
Oh, we're 16 seconds out. Okay, all right, ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen.
It's time
now,
break.
without further ado, here's Square Enix Presents.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Matt Mercer here, and I'm back as your host of Square Enix Presents. Today, we have a special E3 edition of the show for you, with new game announcements, updates, and exciting news from our studios across the globe. So let's kick off with the world premiere of a brand new game from Eidos Montreal. We hope you enjoy the show.
I am so proud of you. Do you know what a birthright is, Peter? Something that's a part of you. Like your name.
Gardeners of the Galaxy?
What? No, Rocket. So I let Groot fill out the paperwork.
So we got fined. We appear to be 6,963 units short. I know. We clearly need a plan.
If you see anything with claws the size of Drax, let me know.
We got this. Drax, throw him. No!
Monster! I'll show you, monster!
No! We disrobe!
Keep your pants on.
Although it could be used as a distraction. Smash him up, Drax! Meet your maker! We're all professionals here, right? Maybe we can work something out. Peter!
You had one job, Quill.
I did exactly what? Gamora, no killing teammates!
That's who!
It's literally in your contract! I made no such commitments.
In less than 3 cycles, all would be lost. The galaxy cannot be saved, Peter Quill.
We can do this together!
Fucking great!
Hi, my name is Olivier Proux, senior producer here at Eidos Montreal. For the past few years, we've had the privilege to work on our version of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and reimagine it into a single-player, story-driven, third-person action-adventure game. It's our own fresh take on the Guardians, and something that's really unique to our game is that you get to be Peter Quill. As Star-Lord, you're constantly in the middle of the action as you try to lead this band of misfits. But today, I'm really excited to have all of you join us on this journey, and you'll hear more about the game from our team behind this project.
Right, let's do this!
I've always loved Marvel's cosmic characters. Growing up as a kid, I read them, enjoyed them, loved them. I had the opportunity to write for Marvel on some of their cosmic titles. I went back with the help of Bill Roseman, the editor, and kind of cherry-picked characters from Marvel's past.
The opportunity here was to build a team, but to make it all underdogs, so that the reader would think, oh my gosh, how is this team going to survive?
And that became the Guardians of the Galaxy comic, which we loved working on.
I remember the first time that the Marvel crew came to Montreal, we were showing them the design of the characters, how they would look, and they stayed silent. I don't know if it's a minute, but in my head, it was a minute. I was like, oh my God, like they hate it.
We realized how much that Marvel and Eidos Montreal share and have in common, and that we knew the Guardians were in perfect hands.
Looking at the samples that Eidos were kind enough to show me, I think he's fantastic and absolutely in the spirit of what these characters are.
What makes the gameplay experience unique to me is no matter in what phase of the game you are, whether you're in exploration or you're fighting, the Guardians are constantly around you and you never feel alone. While you're the leader, the Guardians will also challenge you and make decisions on their own, and you will have to adapt to it.
You are literally part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The decisions you'll make will have lighthearted to haunting repercussions, and the game will react to what you do and say.
Gamora, no killing teammates!
Says who?
It's literally in your contract! I made no such commitment.
You are playing as Star-Lord and you're using your blasters and you're using your jet boots.
Star-Lord is really empowering. He's very agile on the battlefield. He can slide and over with his jet boots. Of course, he has his elemental blasters that have different powers as well. And on top of all of this, he can use the unique abilities of his Guardians.
We're not pirates. We're legally incorporated heroes for hire.
Gardeners of the Galaxy?
What? No!
The story is about a group of misfits, the Guardians. In our world, they've been together for less than a year. They create something on a small scale that looks insignificant. And as they progress through the story, they discover that they created something really big that threatens the galaxy.
There are a lot of very interesting villains in the Marvel franchise. And when you're starting to work on a story like this, you get to get your pick of which ones will make the best for this story. That gives us the opportunity to bring in some that are well known, but some that are also not all that well known.
What Eidos is getting so right about them is capturing what it's like to be a misfit family. They're also bringing an amazing imagination to it. You're going to see planets and characters that are going to blow your mind.
Interpreting it in its own way, I think, makes it feel incredibly fresh and exciting. It's not a matter of trying to replicate the comic or trying to replicate the film. It's trying to take the medium you're working in and make the best version of Guardians out of that.
They made it fun. They made it rock and roll. They delivered everything you would want in a Guardians game.
$37 units?
We appear to be 6,963 units short. If we intend to keep our ship, Peter Quill. I know. We clearly need a plan.
What about selling Gamora's crap?
What?
Oh, come on. You've been hoarding them stupid knickknacks ever since you first joined us. I mean, don't tell me they ain't worth nothing.
Quarantine zone was always
holding out on us, Quill.
Figurines are not knickknacks.
Team's in trouble, and you can't be bothered to make no sacrifice.
I will sacrifice your head.
And take us to the majestic mountains of Kakarantara. Guys, I think we should hear out Groot for once.
You know, the only problem with your plan is that Lady Hellbender only buys monsters, and you are not a monster.
Groot, are you really offering to...
No, he is not offering that, okay?
It could work.
Sell Groot? I guess we could bust him out after.
Absurd.
Lady Hellbender seeks the monster within. The small, ugly one is clearly the correct choice. He is cruel, sadistic, and his soul is filthy and filled with rage.
I vote we sell Groot. I honestly think Lady Hellbender will go for it.
Yeah, well, I vote for not Groot.
I also vote for the creepy little beast.
2 votes each. Peter?
Well, Rocket's definitely scarier on the inside. He's unstable and vicious and totally oblivious to the needs of others.
Okay, we get it.
All right, let's do this. Let's go sell a monster.
We're not seriously flying into that.
You say the weather patterns of Seknarf 9 are tied to the temperament of its ruler.
That's not how women work.
Or weather. We're flying the wrong way.
Nah, he's not flying at all.
Guys, relax. Just one minor adjustment.
I ever mentioned how much I hate rain?
Hellbender's castle isn't even that far! That is not a castle. It is an impregnable fortress.
So how do we impregnate it?
Ask Peter!
Let's just get closer. We'll figure it out on the way. There is nothing to figure out. As beast merchants, we will easily gain access to Lady Hellbender. Good! We've already got a beast. All that's left is the merchant part.
Good thing I put on my official merchant costume.
There is no such thing. Right?
The fact you ain't sure don't bode so good.
Whoa! That is some really crazy lightning out there. Never seen anything like it.
Meteorological suicide is what it is.
Hey, is my jacket all right?
At least you got a jacket. Some of us are soaking here.
Less whining, more walking.
Hey, Stormlord. We ain't seriously walking through this. It'll take forever in this storm.
Stop complaining. The hardship will strengthen your spirit.
I face more than enough hardship. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Feeble One. We got this. Just don't fall and we'll be fine. Oh, whoa! 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 No! Everyone okay? We should have gone to Maku 4. I would be wary, rodent.
You know what? I survived freaking Half-World. Think I'm scared of some little...
It's not alone. Get ready.
What are these things?
They are amorphous vermin.
Shoot first, questions later.
Drop them, Gamora!
This won't hurt much.
Smash them up, Drax!
Meet your maker! Steel Boy's enjoying this way too much!
This is the local fauna!
It's about to be an endangered species!
Blue, hog time! Oh, you, Rocket!
Time to go boom!
I am eager to experience Lady Hellbender's legendary menagerie.
Should we ask them for directions?
I'm thinking maybe they are directions.
Oh, like a signpost or something.
I'm not saying it's an arrow with the word fortress on it, but statues suggest civilization, and the only settlement I saw when we were topside
was Lady Hellbender's fortress.
Dead end. That's just great.
It's a retractable bridge. They used them at the prison I was in.
Too bad the controls are on the other side of the giant chasm.
What do you not have time to dawdle in this jungle? I shall hurl the creature over the chasm so he may activate the bridge.
I may activate a hole through your face! Put me down!
It'll be fine. Just curl up in a ball.
What?
Drax, throw him.
No!
Very well.
Peter?
It's okay. He'll land on his feet. Ooh. I guess that only applies to cats.
You sons of sharks! Scut-busting ass!
I am not familiar with these words. Order the beast to do its job.
Rocket, come on, man!
Ram it, dash face!
Fix the bridge and we'll raise your cut by 5%.
I want 10.
Okay, deal. Thanks for the bridge, Rocket.
If you even think of pulling that
Wait.
scud again...
Hear that?
Guys.
I got it.
These creatures are perfect predators. Stop cheering for the murder monster!
Somebody's having fun.
You are my prey!
Keep it together, Doc.
Bad dog! Bad dog!
We've got the numbers.
Not if you count all that beef we know. That dog is a huge predator!
Avoid the mouth, dodge the tail, slice and clear.
Is anything on this planet not trying to kill us? Guys, huddle up! Already missing the jiggle jellies!
They keep moving around.
It is past time, my blade! Don't get too close to that mouth!
We can't open!
This guy barely feels it!
Yeah, I smell it too! Come on, we got this! Perhaps these were sent by Lady Hellbender! Well, she can keep them! How come monsters are never friendly? That is definitely in my top 10 fortresses.
Peter?
Aren't you forgetting something?
Oh, right. The cage.
The point of even getting the Flarkin thing was looking like we mean business.
All right, Rocket. Time to put on your monster face.
I only got one face, Quill.
Are you sure about this, Peter? Look at him! You better have one hell of a sales pitch.
Maybe Gamora's right. We should try selling Groot instead.
Really?
This is an affront to democracy.
I just think that we might need Rocket on the outside for this one.
Yeah, we noticed.
You want to make that call, then you better not mess this up.
You hang tight there, bud. When the time comes, I'll get you out of there. Rocket style if I got it.
Rocket, what are you doing?
Guardians of the Galaxy. How many times do I have to kill you? The audacity that you thought you could rob me. Dweller, feast upon them!
Now we're going to revisit two iconic brands that are being remastered for modern platforms. First up, relive the classic games in the Final Fantasy series, and then get one more peek at Legend of Mana ahead of its June 24th launch. Up next, Earth's mightiest heroes continue their fight to defend the world in Marvel's Avengers. The team at Crystal Dynamics is excited to share the latest updates with you, including new mission types and a growing roster of heroes.
I applaud your efforts to connect with your roots, but as a man who has seen 3 Black Panthers fall, I must warn you of a few things. Many eyes follow the path, You are about to walk down.
Vibranium doesn't belong to you!
You are right. Vibranium does not belong to me. It belongs to Wakanda.
Now it's time to give mobile players a quick look at some of the games that will be available in the coming months.
Good evening, 426. Our intelligence reports a new threat to global stability. Their reach is unlike anything we have seen before. Following Agent 47's disappearance, you were selected because of your remarkable skills. Execution must be perfect. We will strike from the shadows, and they will never know what hit them.
A sad and beautiful tale that echoes throughout eternity. The first mobile entry in the Nier series. Nier Reincarnation.
Today, the team at Platinum Games is giving you an exclusive look at the epic world of Babylon's Fall, featuring fluid combat, powerful weapons, and a unique art style.
Built over 1,000 years, it was meant to be a tower of dreams. But for 1,000 more, it was seen as a tower of ruin. Persevering through fire and ice and the coldest of winds, eventually the tower became a symbol of unrelenting ambition. That tower's name is Babylon.
Does the savior of Neo-Babylon stand among us? Let's find out without further ado!
If I'm to die, then I'll die for hope, for what little hope there may be.
Seen through the veil at last, have you? We're all prisoners of our subjective reality. Believe only what you see, and you're like to end up seeing only what you believe.
Two paths lie ahead. Ascend to the heavens above the tower, or fall like this one now before you.
Now begins its tale of both hope and despair.
プラチナゲームズは本当にアクションという部分に関しては世界屈指のデベロッパーだと思ってますし、ニーアオートマタでそれが証明できたんじゃないかなと思ってます。
ニーアオートマタのアクションをもっと楽しむためにどうしたらいいかって選ばれたジャンルがハック&スラッシュでしたので、このゲームのコンセプトは端的に言うと、ニーアオートマタのアクションでハック&スラッシュというジャンルを楽しむということになります。
もちろん1人でも遊べるんですけど、4人でダンジョンを攻略していくゲームになります。
コンセプトについては、プレイヤーが、途切れない目標に向かって、アクション、追い求め続けることができると。プレイヤーは、ストーリーを追いながらダンジョンをクリアして上層を目指していくと。入手する装備や素材を集めて自身を強化してカスタマイズしていくと。
ゲームのスタイルとしては、オーソドックスなハック&スラッシュという形ですね。ただアクションがスキルや強い力を引き出すためのトリガーになっているところがポイントかなと思っています。
プレイヤーの背中についているギデオンコフィーというのがかなりのキーアイテムとなっています。それによって、遊び方とかカスタマイズの方向性っていうのも変わってきます。
ハイファンタジー感というか、その上品さというところはすごい意識してくれというふうに言われましたね。カートゥーンチックにならないようにというか、リアルに本当に存在している人たちがいるかのような感じは意識しました。
このゲームは運営型のゲームとして開発しています。発売後も定期的に新しいコンテンツを提供する予定です。
ようやく皆さんに改めてこういった形で発表できたこと、本当に私たちも嬉しく思ってますし、まさにこれから開発の佳境になっていくので、精一杯頑張っていきたいので、皆さんも引き続き応援よろしくお願いいたします。
Now let's check out the next major entry in the popular Life is Strange series, True Colors. The team at Deck 9 is ready to give you a deeper look at Alex Chen's psychic power of empathy. But first, here's a look at the Life is Strange Remastered Collection.
Feels so weird to be back. After 5 years, you're still Max Caulfield.
What do you remember about us as kids?
I think about us as little pirates, running and jumping through Arcadia Bay.
We are awesome!
Come on, let's dance! Or take my picture with your new camera.
That's Rachel Amber. After my dad died and you moved, I felt abandoned.
Oh, good, you're here.
Rachel saved my life. She was my angel. Something happened to her. We have to find her, Max. Holy shit. Max, what's going on?
No! Whoa. I discovered I could reverse time.
What the hell is this?
Whatever's going on between us is special.
Step back before you regret it.
Get in, Max!
Then I realized I had a choice and the power to change everything. Arcadia Bay is on the edge of disaster. Time to change time.
Whatever happens, I'll always have your back. Always.
Hi, I'm Maya, also known as MXMTune. I'm a musician and the singing voice of Alex Chen in the upcoming Life is Strange True Colors. I hope you enjoyed that first look at official gameplay from the remastered collection. As a longtime fan, I know I did. You can see the love and care that Deck 9 have put into remastering both Life is Strange and Before the Storm. This collection features improved character animation, lip sync, and visuals, breathing new life into these two beloved games. Back in March, we also revealed the next major game in the series, Life is Strange: True Colors, a small-town supernatural mystery. Alex Chen must uncover the truth behind her brother's death, using her psychic power of empathy to unravel the shocking secrets of Haven Springs. Today, we have a first look at Alex's unique power in action. Here's game director Zach Garris for more.
Alex's psychic power of empathy is integral to the story of Life is Strange: True Colors. It impacts every relationship she builds and every decision she makes.
Never thought I'd have a freaky empath friend.
For years, Alex has been unable to shut out the strong feelings of others, the fear, sadness, and anger of those around her, leading her to believe her power is a curse. In the wake of Gabe's death, Alex realizes the only way she can find the truth is to embrace her power.
I can't believe this is happening. And the only way to understand is to feel what he's feeling.
From the very start, you can use Alex's power to focus on brightly colored auras to gain an insight into people's emotions.
Gabe was too young. Just too young.
These valuable insights deepen Alex's relationships with the folk of Haven Springs, as well as sparking new dialogue options and events, as here from a scene very early on in the game.
You're gonna lose her. You're gonna lose her, and it's all your fault.
Alex has uncovered a secret that Mac wants to keep hidden from his long-term girlfriend, and now he is terrified that Alex will reveal it before he can talk to Riley.
She is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So please, help me out.
Mac's telling you a whole lot of bullshit.
Listen.
Thanks for telling me the truth, Alex.
Are we still together?
Are you serious? I need to get back to work.
Sure, Alex, we'll get out of your way.
When Alex encounters a particularly strong aura, she can reach out to actively connect with that person's emotions. This generates a nova, a supernatural flare that transforms the world around Alex into a reflection of that person's psyche. In this altered, emotionally charged state, Alex can experience fragments of thoughts and memories to get to the root of their issue. But not every emotional crisis can be easily dealt with. Some carry a dangerous, even life-threatening amount of power.
He's dead! I wish I were too.
No decision is easy, and the consequences will be felt across the game.
This anger could kill her. What if I could just take it away?
Using Alex's power is the only way you can uncover the truth behind her brother's death.
What would that do to her? What would it do to me? And even if I can, should I?
How far will you go in pursuit of that truth? The choice is yours.
Alex's powers look so awesome. I have no idea how I'll make some of these choices, but I can't wait to play it with you all when it comes out on September 10th. Don't forget, you can pre-order Life is Strange: True Colors now. And if you choose the Ultimate Edition, you'll also receive the Life is Strange Remastered Collection. And that's it for today. Make sure to follow the Life is Strange social channels for more.
And now, we are excited to unveil a brand new title from Square Enix Japan.
I'm here to kill Chaos. That's my mission. Looks like Chaos has been waiting for us.
us go in there and find you?
Guess we'll just show ourselves in.
I only know one thing. I want to kill Chaos. We need to. It's not a hope or a dream. It's like a hunger. Thirst.
Move aside! You're dust!
You sure Chaos is here?
Yeah, they can only squash monsters for so long. I hate doing pest control.
This is the Shrine of Chaos. He's here. We just have to hunt him down.
Feel the pain!
The darkness is so thick I can taste it. This is it. No doubt.
Die already!
There was a knight who left on the same journey as you, but never returned. His name was Garland. If you could, I would be grateful if you looked for him.
Chaos.
I'll crush you! Know when you're beaten!
And who are you? We're here to kill Chaos.
The prophecy's very own Warriors of Light.
Real.
He always wore such splendid armor, with a helmet that was terrifying to behold.
It's Garland!
No. I become Chaos.
I'll leave you with a look at some of the amazing Square Enix titles you can play now, as well as those to come.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
Just hit me with it.
I'm gonna drop plate number 7.
They're gonna do what?
Thank you for joining us today. Keep an eye out for news about our next Square Enix Presents. I'm Matt Mercer. See you next time.
Welcome back, everybody. The Square Enix presentation is a wrap. You taking notes?
They take it down
Yeah,
right
I
to
don't
the
blame
wire.
you.
Right
I was
to the
taking
wire on
notes,
what they're gonna
too.
be doing on this thing, Jackie.
You know what? It was very tough to follow up the Xbox presentation,
Yeah.
but I actually found this very exciting. They dived really deep on a lot of games.
Spent a lot of time on a lot of things they were doing, which I appreciate quite a bit. Yeah.
In particular, Guardians of the Galaxy. So
Guardians of the Galaxy.
what? Sorry, I almost hit you.
No, you hit your pen.
I did.
Just
I got a
don't
little
hurt
mark
yourself.
on
Okay.
my finger.
That's on you. Every saw
Anyway,
she did that. I
okay,
can't be
yeah,
held
I did. It
responsible
was
in court.
it was my fault. I have a little pen mark now. Anyways, yes, Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved it.
I really liked
I'll
it
be
too.
honest. Yeah.
No, it's interesting to see it on Twitter. The opinions are split on it.
100%.
For me personally, I was into it, of course, having Guardians, the music, and then for me personally, the choices.
Yeah.
Where it's and then they're saying it's single player, and then it's this year. Like they were hitting on all the things I would want from a Marvel game right away, and that is let's get us in there, let's have a story, let's see what the permutations can be. Yeah, I thought it was funny that the hardest thing in video games a lot of times is trying to nail humor.
100% agree with you there.
And
Yeah.
with the Guardians already having such an established reputation now, thanks to James Gunn and his amazing films.
I
like,
know, right?
To step in and Tim got to see a preview. He was talking a bit on our stream about it of like, this is going to be 80s music focused rather than the 60s and 70s that we saw.
Oh yeah,
with James
Bonnie
Gunn.
Tyler off the top.
Totally.
I need a hero.
And then even
Sorry,
as we were
I was
going
there
through,
for
we
it.
were all talking about how
Yeah.
it is reminiscent of Final Fantasy VII, right? With the
Yeah.
stagger system, and I'm talking about remake, of course.
Yeah.
The stagger system we were seeing there. Obviously, Andy called it out that it was a lot like Ratchet and Clank right now that he's playing because you're
yeah.
calling up and going into the menu wheels that are weapons, but in this are, all right, I want Gamora, and I want Gamora to do this action. I think that really opens it up for some cool gameplay.
Yeah, honestly, I was really impressed with the gameplay. I was talking with Michael a little bit. We were like, hey, little hints of Deus Ex there. You know, it was like, pick this or pick this.
Yeah, right.
Sell Rocket or sell Groot. You know what I mean? And we were like, oh my God, we love that. I also really enjoyed watching how you could summon your teammates.
Totally.
Michael was comparing it to like spells and abilities, essentially.
Yeah, from
so
Final
I was there for it. Like you said, we're getting a mixed reaction online right now. When Marvel's Avengers first dropped, everybody was like, they don't look like them. They don't look like, you know, what we saw in the movies. And I understand that, but I'm sorry, Gamora's look, I'm cosplaying that, man.
Yeah, Gamora
I am
looks
cosplaying that, yeah. So, I don't know, definitely getting a mixed reaction, but I love the music.
Yeah.
I thought the funny beats hit.
Yeah.
And I think that with anything that has to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, and again, very tough to follow up the movies, I was a little nervous. I was like, is the humor gonna be good here? And I thought all the dialogue really delivered, to be honest. So
100%, yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think that's what's gonna be interesting about it. I think it is, again, we all know Guardians because of the MCU. And so getting into this game, it's going to be that moment and having to get in and settle into what this universe is. But even by the end of it, I thought at first, I'm like, man, Peter Quill's hair is kind of tall in this, right? And he's got a much blockier
He's got some Greg Miller hair vibes going on.
I wish my hair could get that tall.
Actually, shout out to Genevieve. She cut your hair.
She did. She cut my hair and gave
Lovely
me my entire
Genevieve.
outfit. That's right.
Love you.
But yeah, for the game, I thought their Rocket voice actor was real good, right? Because again, these are already so iconic. I thought their Drax was good in terms of not being Dave Bautista, but being in that. Yeah,
First of all, did you hear our producer? They're saying, pull your hair back, pull your hair back. And they were like, we were talking to Greg.
They didn't say it into my ear.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, is this supposed to be me?
All right,
or
ladies
Greg?
and gentlemen, then it's a hair emergency. It's a hair emergency. We will toss to a package. But wait, there's more, ladies and gentlemen. I had the pleasure of chatting with some of the big brains from Marvel Games and IDOS Montreal about the new Guardians of the Galaxy game. Let's take a look. Hair! All right, Mary, Jean-Francois, and Tim, let's talk Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. How did your collaboration with Marvel come together?
The collaboration with Marvel Games came together a few years ago when we met for the first time to see that how we would create this Guardians of the Galaxy game. And what was really exciting about our first meeting and talking together is that we were sharing exactly the same vision about where to go with the game. And Marvel Games really wanted us to really embrace our creativity and give a fresh spin on this universe and explore different ideas. And it was also our wish as well, because as creators, you really want to look at the source material and bring it somewhere else and bring fresh ideas on the table. So in the initial discussions, like we were all aligned with that. So it was really, really exciting.
Yeah, so the collaboration with between Marvel Games and IDOS Montreal came about in what I feel like as a really kind of natural fit, right? I think we're always striving to partner with the best developers in the world, and pair them with the right franchise, right? Something that they care about. We at Marvel here have always been a huge fan of IDOS and what they've done with the Deus Ex franchise, and their passion for sci-fi and world building. So when we saw how passionate they were about not just Marvel, but specifically the Guardians, I think it just felt like a natural fit.
Okay, so tell us more about your original take on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Absolutely. When we start a project, the first thing that we do is really get to the source material. And then in this case, like the comics, like there's like over 80 years of comics at Marvel and everything, and a lot of like more underground characters, more prominent characters and whatnot. So the first few steps were really to read comics and exchanging among us with Mary, with other of the crew here at Montreal. And we started to to solidify some ideas that we were also running in collaboration with Marvel. And Marvel also, they were feeding us with ideas too, like, hey, that could be interesting or that. So it was really in that mindset that we were looking at like the source material and see what we could take of it, but not take it one for one.
Distilling all those sort of key features down allowed us to understand what these characters are about. And then like JF said, tapping into the history in comics and animation, and of course the films, allowed us to sort of bend and shape these characters in ways that, you know, fans may have not seen before, and perhaps even expand on what they may already know. So yeah, I mean, outside of that, I think we also have a lot of fun with playing with, you know, well-known characters and factions like Mantis or the Nova Corps, but also, you know, like introduce characters that are newer or lesser known, right? Like Lady Hellbender or the Blood Brothers, or even Cosmo the Dog, right? Like just diving into this untapped cosmic corner of the Marvel Universe. And I think, you know, the hope is obviously, you know, the fans will enjoy what we put together for them, right?
So what was your main source of inspiration when working on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy?
Obviously, we're familiar with the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and we went back and rewatched them. We watched some of the animated television series, and we did a deep dive into the comic books. And from that, we really got a sense of who these Guardian characters are. And what was fascinating for me is that in every incarnation, whether it be the comic books or the movies themselves, there's a core essence to these characters, and yet the interpretation changes. So that really was inspiring to know that we could
constantly interact with the Guardians as we move forward, like whether it's in banter as we explore, or we can use their super abilities when we're facing puzzles or in combat and things like that. So ultimately, the vision was to really put you in the shoes of one of the Guardians and feel their presence throughout. You focus on Peter, you have your button for the Guardians, you summon them, and they will banter, they will react in combat. So even though we're not in a cutscene or things like that, they constantly stay alive. So the narrative or the liveliness of the Guardians remains alive all the way through. And when we get into some of the more, I would say, epic encounters or with different characters in the Marvel lore, sometimes you have the opportunity to try to convince some of those entities to side with you or not. And since Peter is the smooth talker, he can use his like social skills for that. But the Guardians are always there, and they can chip in the conversation, or you can ask them to get involved and hope to get better results. So all that to say that for us, like playing as Star-Lord and being like constantly around the Guardians and feeling to be part of this family was at the heart of what we were trying to achieve, no matter in what aspect of the game you are at any given time.
What is the overarching story, and who are the Guardians going to confront?
The story takes place in space, obviously, 12 years after a massive war has swept through the galaxy, destroying civilizations and planets, upending lives, and many people are still trying to recover from the losses that they suffered at that time. As Peter Quill, he wants to put that past behind him, and he has pulled together this team of space outlaws and former galactic war heroes, and he's convinced them that there is a great deal of money and some really wild adventures to be had if they rebrand themselves and sell themselves as heroes for hire. So the team's been together for not very long. They've been on a few missions already when the game has begun, just long enough to kind of know each other, but not long enough to have really gelled as a team. And on their current mission, their kind of carefree approach to exploration as they're out trying to capture this very elusive monster, it culminates in this bet that goes spectacularly sideways. And the next thing they know, they've kind of inadvertently set off a series of catastrophic events that are going to start really upending the rest of the galaxy. And the more they start realizing it and start kind of exploring and encountering this, the more they start to understand that this bizarre corruption has spread out like wildfire across the galaxy, and it's going to destroy everyone if someone doesn't stand up and stop it. And fortunately or unfortunately, no one else wants to do it. So in the end, the Guardians find themselves kind of as this last stand against this mysterious order that it wants to annihilate anyone who won't bow to its will.
So how do the choices and consequences affect the player's journey?
Infusing choice and consequence into a game has always been very important to us as a development team. As gamers, we want to see our choices and our decisions reflected back to us in fun and surprising ways, whether that be through the reaction of our Guardian teammates or our allies and enemies that we encounter along the way, whether it's opening or closing different gameplay pathways. In Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, you're playing as Star-Lord, and he is the leader of the team. So he is at the center, you are at the center of every single gameplay choice, every single combat, every single social interaction and dialogue choice that's possible within this game. And there are a lot of them. And the choices that you make are going to play out. These micro decisions that you make are going to have repercussions on your journey and change the experience for you as you go. Obviously, we were trying to build a very strong, compelling story. And so the story will have the same beginning and the same ending for everyone, because we want to create this really gripping emotional journey that builds and builds into this massive Marvel superhero ending.
All right, it's the big question. What role does music play in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy?
The ambience in Guardians of the Galaxy was a very important aspect. And when I say that, I'm talking specifically about 2 points. The first one is the aesthetics of the game. And after that is the audio experience. From an aesthetic perspective, what was really important for us was, since we're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy and how colorful they are and how like it's a quirky bunch and everything, and there's a lot of humor in the game, and we wanted also the art style to reflect that. Like we wanted a game that would be colorful, would be like awakes your sense of wonder, discovering the different places you go, that they feel alien, different than what you experience on Earth. And we really wanted to take advantage of, like, when you go in some alien planets, like they speak a different language than you. You don't understand all the aliens that you will hear through the journey. And it's a part also of making you feel like you're discovering the galaxy as well. Like you don't know everything everywhere. So that was quite exciting. So we really wanted that to be colorful and vibrant, should I say. And in terms of the audio ambience, is that Peter Quill is a kid that grew up in the 80s, and unfortunately, at a young age, he was kidnapped by aliens, and his, I would say, scheme of references is really rooted in the 80s, like music, movies, video games, all these things, and we wanted to bring that forward. So you can expect in the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game a very great eclectic soundtrack, like really rooted in the 80s and capturing that vibe. It was really important for us to really bring those two aspects together, to create a fresh look, to have something that feels positive. Like there's a lot of emotions. There will be laughs, a lot of laughs, but there will also be drama. But ultimately, it was to create an experience that would stay with you with a feel-good vibe. And those two aspects are key to achieve that.
All right, tell me, what's the release date?
I'm very excited to see this game come out. It's going to come out on October 26th, and it is going to be available on PC and PlayStation and Xbox consoles. It's going to be an epic ride with lots of adventure, lots of drama, and I really, really can't wait for you to play it.
Thank you all for coming to talk about Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now back to our show.
thank you, Greg, for that great interview.
He was fantastic.
I wonder what they were blurring
Exceptional
out
interviewer.
behind him during the Marvel interview, but we won't talk about that. We've been talking a lot about Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously, since before we went to break. Instead, let's get to what the final announcement there was.
Yeah.
Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy Origin.
I love that. We both were like, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Just want to make sure we got that
As
all
with
in,
most
right?
Final Fantasy games, I have to read it off the page a few dozen times before I can memorize the entire name.
That is a long title, and right now social media is blowing up.
Of course, again, another one with people having a lot of opinions. What, of course, stood out for me is what they started with, right? That fact that it's Team Ninja. Of course,
Team
Ninja
Ninja.
Gaiden. You're going to have Neo. You know it's going to be this action-based combat, and that's, of course, what they were stressing throughout the trailer, that it's not your daddy's Final Fantasy. This is a different take on it, right? As they jump into this and get going and have that kind of
I'll be honest, somebody said there might be something else on the docket. I don't know who mentioned that. That was me.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But no, I was just like, let's see how they end this thing. And oh my gosh, you heard our E3 crew back there.
Yeah.
They were hooting, they were hollering. I mean, a Final Fantasy spin-off. I mean, we're all here for that. No one is going to complain about that at all. And actually, we do have a poll up right now.
I was going to say, but what are you here for, ladies and
let's
gentlemen?
see. What
We,
are
of
you
course, asked you what your favorite announcement was from Square, and looks like right now, look at that. It's neck and neck Guardians versus Stranger
That doesn't
of
surprise
Paradise
me at
Final
all.
Fantasy Origin. And Guardians with the narrow lead right now, 32%. Remember, of course, you can vote wherever you are watching us, whether it be on Twitch, whether it be on YouTube. You put it in there. Of course, if you want to be on the bottom bar, hashtag E3 2021, you can get on there by tweeting with that. And if you would just compliment me, that would go up there and really put some of the people in the Twitch chat to shame, because they don't like me.
Greg Miller compliments everybody. Keep them coming. Just to talk about Stranger of Paradise a little bit more, I thought the story seemed really interesting. The Warriors of Light versus Chaos.
They are all going to kill Chaos. They're all going to kill.
They are determined.
These people hate Chaos.
That was some JRPG moments there, right?
Totally.
They were just like, kill Chaos, hate Chaos, Chaos, Chaos. I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm 100%
This is your motivation.
here for
Go
that.
For it.
Exactly. But that definitely stood out to me. I'm really not surprised by the poll, though. There were a lot of great titles. And as we talked about in the beginning, they were deep diving so hard on these titles here. So
deep diving on a lot of the titles. Not on Marvel's Avengers, though.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I was kind of like, I wanted more there.
Man, me too. I really thought we were going to get, War for Wakanda expansion. Here's a look at what the gameplay will be.
I thought we were going to get a gameplay.
And we got a
reveal,
great. I enjoyed the setup cinematic they used. Of course, Black Panther facing off against Claw. The fact with the narration that I've seen 3 Black Panthers fall already. Shuri being there, right? And being able to be like, all right, cool. This is the world you're in. But I was looking for more in terms of what we'd be getting into.
I was hoping we'd get a little bit more of a look at the landscape. Gameplay would have been fantastic. I mean, we love how it looks. I have absolutely adored his costume. I thought the teaser definitely got me hyped. But I will totally agree with you there. I was hoping we get a little bit
My hope, of course, as a Marvel's Avengers fan, is the fact they're going to deep dive it on their social channels. Because during the presentation, they didn't put out dates. They showed the roadmap, showed where they've come with Tachyon Anomaly and everything else. But they talked about Cosmic Cube, showed us going up against Scientist Supreme from the main game. And that actually has a date, June 22nd. That was announced on Twitter after the fact. And the same thing for War for Wakanda. Didn't mention when it's coming, but on Twitter they confirmed August. So I'm hoping more and more information about it will be dropped that way. For the fans like us, or me. No, I'm not going to drag you down.
You can't throw me in there.
No,
actually,
you don't know nothing about Wasteland Patrol.
Hold on. Avalene and I actually hosted a Marvel's Avengers launch event together.
Wow.
Yeah,
so how many 150 characters you got right now?
Okay, all right. Just flex a little more. He and Golden Boy all about the flexing. Who's got the Xbox mini fridge? How many characters?
We don't talk about that, all right? With the one But yeah, then they showed more Wasteland Patrols. Again, that's cool for me. I like the idea of being able to team up with friends and just go. If you're not familiar, you just go through the Wasteland, random boss fights, different things. There's gear you can only acquire there. That's exciting. And again, they're on track with their roadmap, which has been Marvel's Avengers' early problem, right? Like, of course, Kate and Clint were supposed to be there in what, September? It was September, so then October and November they were supposed to be here, and that got way pushed out to December and then this year for Clint.
I'm a little sad. I was really hoping something big for you, Greg.
You know what?
Again,
it
was
looked
okay.
good.
It was a taste of it. It was a taste of it,
I think one of those things is that, and I shouldn't say universally because it's the internet, most people like the Marvel Avengers campaign to some extent. So if they've taken the learnings and they just want to give us more of that with the Black Panther expansion, of us playing through and being Black Panther, I'm okay with that.
So you're happily intrigued, I would say.
Of course. Oh, yeah, this doesn't do anything for my excitement. No, I'm still totally there. I am excited. I would like to know if anybody can hit up Square and find out, does Life is Strange Remastered have new trophies? because I wouldn't mind replatinuming those games.
It looks
Love those
great.
games. Yeah.
I loved seeing the remaster, and we got an in-depth look at True Colors too.
Yeah,
some
exactly.
interviews.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it. Life is strange, yay! But
again, it's one of those
we're
things.
just chatting away.
I know.
Here. We got to get the E3
Babylon's
crew in
Fall,
here.
We had all the stuff, the mobile games, the Final Fantasy, what they call it, pixelated
I wish you
thing
could see
over
the
here.
handwriting on here, by the way, too.
That's journalism school in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. Enough about what we've been talking about. Let's see what our old friend Golden Boy has to say. Golden Boy!
Hi.
Man, talk about just sucking all the air out of the room, Greg Miller. Geez, every topic we have just grabbed away from us. It's not fair. Now, folks, this was the part of the show where we were going to give Michael Hyam from GameSpot here an opportunity to monologue about Babylon's Fall. But unfortunately, Michael is having second thoughts. So, Michael, hold my hand. And how do you feel about Babylon's Fall, Poppy?
Oh, man. I think, you know, I set myself up. You know, I was like, you know, I'm disappointed. But it's okay. It's all right. You know, I still want to give, you know, a chance. Platinum Games has a great history. Great history. You know what I'm saying? Bayonetta. You know, the thing is like, oh, maybe this is the next thing in line to follow up Nier Automata. Like, and then Yosuke Saito, my boy, Yosuke Saito's on the project.
Say your pain. Say your pain, Poppy.
And then it's like, oh, it's a live service game, and it's endless, and we didn't really get any narrative bits about it. So, you know, I still want to give it a chance. You know, like Damon said, like that art style does kind of look fire. Like, oh, it looks promising.
We're committed, by the way.
Yeah. I got you, baby.
Thank you.
And like I trust Platinum to bring fire combat, and like they showed some of that stuff right there. But you know, it's like I like games that make me cry.
Make them cry.
And then when you have the lineage of a Platinum game.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Nier Automata, one of the best games of all time. One of the best games of all time.
Say it. Speak your truth.
I feel like crying now, but not because tears of joy or just this relief of seeing 2B and 9S finally being
Everyone,
friends
can we
again.
all just hold hands for Michael here? Come on, Damon, you as well?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're here. We're here. We support you. We're with you. And don't worry, we'll still play Babylon's Fall with you.
You want to sing a DMCA safe Kumbaya?
I don't know if we want to do that. We want the stream to be here next year. Anyway, though, guys, Babylon's Fall was interesting, but I will say this much. I don't understand, Damon, the mixed reaction regarding Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought it looked fantastic.
My reaction is not mixed. I'm with you. It might end up being my pleasant surprise of E3 this year.
Yeah.
I am a single-player gamer, so it's a single-player game. It's telling a story. You play as one character. I loved the creature design and the world design, and I thought most of the jokes were landing, so I was like, all right, this sounds great. But I understand the Guardians of the Galaxy are an ensemble cast. If people were sort of hoping they could pick a character to play as or even play cooperatively with other people, I get that part of it too.
Yeah, well, don't worry, folks. That is what downloadable content is for. But Dan, let's speak of things that weren't present at E3 because, or at least in this particular keynote, because, you know, obviously we're looking forward to a lot of good things that's going to be coming out. You know, obviously we saw a little bit of Final Fantasy 16. We saw a little bit of Forspoken. Maybe we'll get a bit of Triangle Strategy later on. But then there was this final thing with Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. Obviously they don't like chaos.
Yes.
They're not a fan.
Chaos is no longer on the menu if they have anything to say about it. They are coming in hot. Like, if you were to drink every time they say the word chaos in that trailer, you would be dead before you reach the final boss. But it would be worth it because it looks awesome. You have that pedigree of Team Ninja, Koei Tecmo. It looks super fun. It was just like, it feels like this weird mixture of like a Souls-like with Final Fantasy, and that is something that's really exciting because we haven't seen that yet, and you're getting to this more sort of action RPG-esque combat that we've seen in recent Final Fantasy entries. I think they can have a lot of fun with this. And again, you know what? I've had enough chaos for quite some time. I'm beginning to see what they're talking about. I'd like to Omni/chaos into a million little pieces myself.
Here's the thing. Sure, they don't like chaos, but they really like just tearing their enemies apart from like the face or the mouth, and they're just...
He really likes going for the mouth.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know, and just shoving some red stuff in there and then, you know, like...
I can't tell. Is it like when they stomp on them, the crystals appear, or are they putting the crystals
I don't know, but I'm going to play the
inside?
game and find out. I mean, we're seeing it right here in the footage.
Yeah,
it's quite aggressive.
He's trying to figure out the most efficient way to get the crystals, and usually it's just ripping it right open like a bag of chips.
Well, that's
And then
what I
just
was
reaching
thinking.
inside.
You know, I had a DoorDash order yesterday. That you see that plug? That was, you know, just a little. That was a little. You know, the bag was closed. So what did I do? Stranger in Paradise. Yeah,
Chaos reigns.
Chaos reigns, baby. But yeah, it looked really cool. Obviously, though, lots of other really cool stuff with Life is Strange: True Colors. I think that, you know, everyone loves that game. It's a pleasant experience for a lot. It's not my cup of tea per se. Like, I'm not that like a narrative player, but I always appreciate what games like that bring to the medium.
Oh yeah, I mean, Michael was talking about, I like games that make me cry. Like Life is Strange, the original game had me like on the floor going like, I'm never gonna trust a teacher again, or like all of my friends, I'm gonna hold all of my friends near and dear to me. And something that I was bragging to Dan about was during the game, there is a moment where you can attempt to save a friend from a situation. And I managed to do that, and apparently like no one else was able to do that. And so all of these interesting experiences, they hit home.
They hit hard.
So with the new one coming out, True Colors, where Alex Chen has like the psychic ability to feel other people's emotions, I feel like that's gonna open up like so many more different stories. And like, even in-game mechanics, we heard that she can hear like bits and pieces of their thoughts and monologue.
Some reconstructed memories as well.
Exactly, all to try to figure out what happened to her dead brother. And it's like, oh, okay, where are we going now with this? And you could see, I love all the characters. The character design's so fun, and all the emotions that just
I got mad
ripped
respect.
out.
I got mad respect for Life is Strange. Like Life is Strange 1 which is getting a remaster. Like, people get to re-experience that again, and also like Life is Strange 2. If you go back to that game it hit real hard. So shouts out to my girl Natalie Flores. That is one of her favorite games of all time. Got me to play it, and it went on to cover things like race relations and like really touchy subjects with varying degrees of like sensitivity, and it just really hits you in your feelings. And the fact that we're gonna have another full Life is Strange game, like, I don't know, folks should be playing this game, because, you know, crying is great. Crying is dope.
Crying is good. That's actually very true. It's very true. We had a few other just small little details, obviously, with the Final Fantasy games, the Pixel Remastered. I'm personally looking forward to that. We had some mobile games as well. I love mobile gaming, so I'm going to be downloading all that good stuff. But one game that I definitely will be checking out, because I think it's about time I give it a try. It's Life is Strange. And our friends over at PC Gamer actually caught up with Christopher Sika, the game designer from Deck 9 Games, for an in-depth conversation about the narrative-driven adventure game. Let's check it out.
So obviously in True Colors, you've sort of gamified emotions to an extent where, you know, it's actually brought forward into part of the gameplay. What have you done to ensure that there's more subtle emotional impacts of the general story is still being retained?
So in order to do that, we have our town, Haven Springs, where our main character, Alex, is walking around, and she's able to interact with characters all over the town with a range of emotions from fear, sadness, joy, and anger. And the way we visualize this is through what we call emotional auras, which Alex can see around the characters. And then it also allows the player to do the psychic power of empathy to read the character's thoughts and emotions, which allows Alex to connect with them and have side storylines and more emotional connections with the characters.
So on that subject, actually, regarding the emotions and, you know, the connection Alex has with them, so in Before the Storm, sort of in contrast to the other two Life is Strange games, it's a much more grounded experience where you have the only vaguely supernatural element obviously was Chloe's visions of her father, but here you've really thrown yourselves into that Life is Strange element of more supernatural. So why did you decide that was the route to go?
Correct. Yeah, this one is a much more in the supernatural element. When we first started talking about using the power of empathy, we felt that it needed to have a supernatural element to really allow the player to connect with the characters and also give Alex this extra element to use her power of empathy. And the best way to show this was to embrace the supernatural. I feel like it really follows the Life is Strange staple of having a beautiful setting and also this supernatural element on top of it.
So one thing that all of the Life is Strange games, including this one, have in common actually is the primary players are all teenagers. Was that a conscious decision on your part?
It was, but I think Alex is defined by a lot more than just her age. She's really a well-rounded character, but we wanted to have a strong female lead, someone that players could really connect with and relate with. And with her power of empathy, she's just a great character to connect with, and I'm really excited for fans to see her. I think she's going to quickly become a fan favorite.
And then the element of choice in Life is Strange obviously is very important. What's your approach to this in True Colors in terms of is the good choice always clear?
Well, actually, I think that's an interesting question, because one of the things we strive for is not always, labeling what is good and what is bad. And I think, in Life is Strange, one of the things that fans really connect with is how dynamic the characters are. Characters have elements of good and bad, but we try to stray away from just a good character or an evil character. It's their choice and they can own it, not to be judged or feel like they made the evil choice or the bad choice.
Yeah. Going back to the issue of teenagers. So, I mean, was generally speaking, a lot of, you could say that during your teenage years, you're more emotionally volatile. Is that something that you're reflecting in the game at all? Because I have noticed what you've revealed so far. There are, although it's primarily teenage characters, there are some older characters as well. Is that reflected in the way the emotions work at all?
Well, it's interesting because Alex had a very, troubled childhood coming through the foster home. So even though she is a teenager, she's very mature for her age. She's been through a lot. So I think that, emotional volatile that you're talking about, we can actually see in characters of all ages. Even the adults she connects with, they're really volatile in their emotions. So we tried to have a more realistic approach that even though teenagers may be emotional volatile, even in our adulthood, we still feel those emotions and have a wide range.
I know you've previously spoken a little about how it's a more open game than anything else in the Life is Strange series so far. Any of these optional interactions, do any of those have any of those more impactful than the player might expect, like an missable character or choice?
So the optional content we really wanted to keep as optional and missable. I think it will impact the user's experience, as they might not be able to connect with these characters as much. But if you stay on the critical path and just do the primary interactions, you won't miss any of the key elements of the story. All of the open spaces like you're talking about are really just a way to explore the town, connect with the people, use the power more often. And it could, help as you go on, so you know more about the characters, but you won't be punished for missing any of this content.
So one thing I actually have noticed with Life is Strange, with the Dontnod ones and also Before the Storm, which also sort of really captured, is it looks and sounds and feels like an indie movie. Like, is that intentional? And if it is, what does that mean for you? How do you capture that?
Absolutely. I think we really try to capture the indie feel, because that's the roots of Life is Strange. So for this title, True Colors, we actually worked with a lot of indie artists. So the music's a big element of it. And as far as the visuals, we did a lot of research on, mountain towns. Being out here in Colorado, we had a lot of inspiration. And so we really just try to capture that visual, that cinematic style, and the music. It's a big pillar for what the game is.
And again, so referencing Before the Storm again, although obviously you were allowed a lot of creativity in that, you ultimately had to sort of draw within the lines, in that Chloe's character was already established, the ultimate ending, we knew where it was going. But with True Colors, it's your first Life is Strange game with all of your own characters. You have complete control over the story. What were you able to take from Before the Storm to help you prepare for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. For us, as Before the Storm, we did use the Chloe character, which was amazing. She was a big favorite of the studio, but at its core, Before the Storm is a love story. It's about relationships. And so with True Colors, we approached it as, we wanted a story about empathy. We wanted a story about kindness and connection. So we really started with that as our core, and then we built these characters around it. But we really made sure that all the characters fit into the Life is Strange universe. Like I was saying earlier about dynamic characters, we wanted them to feel realistic, feel dynamic, and have players be able to have a connection with these characters.
And then talking about connection, obviously there's a direct connection between Before the Storm and True Colors in terms of Steph, who crosses over into True Colors. So first of all, I want to ask, of the characters that you had introduced yourself, why Steph? Why bring Steph to True Colors and rather than anybody else?
Yeah, well, I think, working on Before the Storm, I actually worked on that title as well. We all loved Steph. She was a great character. So we were all really excited as a studio to bring her back and to reveal her in Haven Springs. And then I think beyond that, just the connection that her and Alex start to form throughout the title. I'm really excited for fans to see more of Steph. I think there's an element of Steph we all know from Before the Storm, but we're going to learn more about her as a character and who she is and the experiences she's been through. So I just think she's a great fit for the story and just a character that we all love writing and working with.
So it sounds like she'll be a bit more of a forefront then in this one than she was in Before the Storm.
You'll see a decent amount of Steph throughout the game.
Would I be right to assume that True Colors will also have multiple endings?
It will have multiple endings, correct? Yep.
And will the endings depend on like a final choice, as has traditionally been done in the series, or is there something a little further back from the end you can do that will send you down a different path? Like how far back do the roads to the ending diverge?
So yeah, what's really exciting about True Colors is it's actually an element of both of that. Your final choice will reflect the ending, but there's also an element of the relationships you build throughout the game and how you'll see this in the dynamic ending. So I think it's really important as players are going through to build these connections and make these choices. We didn't want a situation where you just get to the end and one decision dictates your experience.
The most recent footage that I've seen, it goes in a little bit more detail of what happens when Alex comes across a particularly powerful aura. And then obviously there's a little bit of talk about it actually affects the environment. Are you able to go into a little bit more detail about what happens there and how the player explores this altered environment?
Absolutely. So we have different tiers of using the power. There's the one I explained earlier when you're walking around town and you're able to interact with characters, read their emotions and see their thoughts. And that's what we're calling the frequent use power. As you're walking around, you're able to use it in our free roams in our gameplay. We also have these major power moments where, like you were saying, there's a really powerful emotional aura. And the way Alex actually absorbs these characters' emotions, and she's able to go into this world that changes the environment and really gain more insight into what that character is going through. So she's able to explore the environment, she's able to look at objects, and all these objects relate to emotional connections that the character she's interacting with has gone through.
From your perspective, and again, now this is the game that you've got the most control over, what are you hoping that players will get out of it?
That's a great question. I think for me personally, I'm really excited for players to see this power of empathy that we're talking so much about. I think especially in these times, it's really important to be able to be kind to each other and understand what others are going through. We use empathy a lot, but what this game really allows is for players to connect with people, see their struggles, see what they're going through, and really understand that people are dynamic and we all have our troubles and we all have our triumphs. And I'm really excited for players to get to know Alex. She's, for me, the favorite character I've ever worked on. And so I'm really excited for players to see her. She's just such an inspiration. And then also to be able to use this power of empathy and hopefully, allow people to take a step back in their life and see others as well in a whole new light.
It should be the first Life is Strange game to be released as a complete package all at once, but it's still split into episodes. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So there will be 5 chapters, as we're calling them right now, but they will all be released together.
Is there anything that you've done in True Colors that you weren't able or didn't have time to do in Before the Storm?
I think for us in True Colors, really embracing the supernatural element, like you mentioned, this was a big thing for us that we're able to now have a longer game, a longer experience, and add more of these power elements in, which I think the team is really excited about. Also, the locations that we built for True Colors, the environments are beautiful, and we were able to spend a lot more time just focusing on one town and one location that we could really make into this dynamic place that it feels like you're part of Haven as you're playing.
And speaking of the powers, what was the process to finally deciding that was what would be the center of the game, like empathy and emotions?
Yeah, so I think it was a core pillar of our initial story was having empathy. Like I was saying, we really wanted to tell the story about kindness and connection. And as we were exploring that, we realized we had to have more gameplay elements to the power than just to have this narrative moment that she could use. And that's what really influenced us, that we need to have these major power moments where you can look into insights and you can connect with the characters. And then from there, we decided it's really a great place to just be able to connect with the town as a whole. And that's where we started to enter gameplay into the town and these open spaces. So I'd say it was really an iterative process as we were writing the story. Us in game design working with narrative to really find a great way to make the power really sell and something that players will enjoy.
What is around that? What have you done to try and really flesh out and build this character that's going to be with the player from start to finish?
Yeah, well, I think with Alex, what makes her so strong is just her realism as a character. She's vulnerable, she's honest, she's genuine, she's strong, she's brave. She just has a lot of really good qualities that I think anyone can relate to. So we didn't take anything specific with Chloe or previous characters from Before the Storm. We wanted Alex to be a character that stands up on her own, someone who's real. And I think, our writers did a great job of writing her. And then Erica, the actress, did a great job performing as her. And that is now the character that we see and love in this game. It really was a team effort to make her as great as she is today.
One thing that's only just occurred to me is in each of the Life is Strange games, the main characters have parents that are either absent or antagonistic or a little bit of both. So it sounds like this is a trend that continues into True Colors. So again, was that a conscious decision? And either way, how do you think that feeds into the story?
It was, and we did a lot of research to make sure that we gave the foster care system justice. Obviously it's a complicated subject, so we just tried to tell, like most Life is Strange games do, something that's real but also tragic and unfortunate in some regards. As far as Alex's parents, it definitely influences who she became and who she is as a person. I don't want to say too much more than that because there's moments in the game where I would love for fans to just experience for themselves. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's probably about it for me. So again, thank you again so much for making time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you once again to our friends over at PC Gamer for that one, and lots more to come here. But first, I want to mention that our friends over at DoorDash are doing something pretty cool. Make sure you tag them in a tweet, you follow them for your chance to win a $100 gift card. That's right, folks, $100. Now, so make sure you guys do that. Follow the prompts here, and you'll be a Gucci handbag. So we've had some pretty awesome moments already from this year's E3. It's been great, but I do want to take a second to, do some story time amongst us friends. Might I add, how cool is it that we get to sit here with IGN, GameSpot, both me and you, G4, Nerdist as well, to talk about, this is probably one of the highlights for me personally. But, I want to go down the line. Dan, what is an E3 memory from your first E3?
My first E3, well, I grew up reading like GamePro and EGM and always reading about E3 year after year. And I would love to go to that someday. Finally, in 2012, I got the chance, and it was just like full body chills. It was such a really incredible moment for me. It was like one of my first jobs away from like waiting tables. It was like one of my first real moments where I was like, I'm working in the field of like entertainment journalism and covering pop culture and the stuff that I love. And I remember I got to sit in the closed door session to see Star Wars 1313, RIP, and just had my brain rent asunder by how awesome it looked. And basically that game looked like it was going to do for Star Wars what The Mandalorian ultimately did, just open up this whole world of scum and villainy. And it also taught me to embrace pain, because sometimes not all of your dreams can come true. In that case, it was sadly dashed upon the rocky shores of reality and development hell. But one day, hopefully, we'll go back to Coruscant, to level 1313, check out that seedy underbelly. But for now, I'll always have that memory to hold on to.
A boy can dream. A boy can dream. Boys and girls can dream. Amelie, what about for you?
Mine is probably a little bit more evil, so boys and girls, do not try this at home.
What did you do?
Well, I snuck into my first E3.
Oh, gosh, Amelie.
So I was maybe 17, 18 years old, And I came as a media partner for my high school newspaper. Totally legitimate, wasn't in high school anymore at that point. But I will never forget them, for some reason, handing me the badge, putting the lanyard on, and then just walking into the convention hall and just looking up all around me at all of the different booths.
Yeah.
And like seeing like the big Nintendo booth, and then I think there was like Persona 4 Dancing All Night being displayed or something, right?
Yeah.
And then just having like Teddy going over here, like, you want to dance, little girl? And I'm like, okay. That was probably like my absolute favorite memory of just being in shock and awe that I was there, because you know, we saw E3 on G4.
Right.
I found E3 from like, hey Ash, what you playing? They did like a vlog there, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm here. This is it.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of time, but Michael, what about for you?
I grew up watching GameSpot, and I had a 2004 GameSpot DVD where they went around E3. I'm like, damn, it'd be nice to be there. 2017 was my first E3, and I did it for GameSpot, so I bust up in there. I'm like, yo, this is wild, whimsical. Like, I'm doing work, but it's wild to like collaborate with the Giant Bomb folks, because like we see them in the office, but like you go to the Giant Bomb couch, it's like, wow, this stuff is real. I'm really here. So I'll never forget 2017. It was a lot of work. You realize how much work is put in for like folks at GameSpot, IGN. So it's wild.
And Damon?
I'm gonna carbon date myself here. My first E3 with IGN was 2006.
Wow.
So I got to go to some of the behind closed door demos. And remember, 2006 PS3 and Wii weren't out yet. 360 was out, but I didn't have one yet. So I was playing PS2, GameCube, original Xbox games. And I got to go to the behind closed doors demos of Mass Effect and BioShock, and I was completely blown away. I was like, these feel like real next-gen experiences over everything I'm playing right now. And I was like, wow, this is a really exciting way to start my career at IGN.
Well, before we throw to our next segment, I did want to say my quick E3 story. I commentated a Major League Gaming show match for GameSpot where I flew in the last day of E3 because that was like all they could afford. Fly me in the last day of E3 at the last moment, at the last hour of E3. It was my first one, but I remember being on that airplane, going to LA and saying to myself, Mama, I made it. It was a great time. But we have so many great stories, not just from us, but also from all of our friends all around the industry, and some of your favorite streamers as well as influencers all around had a bit to say about what was their favorite moments from E3.
I'm a criminal.
Well, I could tell you growing up, E3 was like the holy grail, right? Like that was, I mean, it was like E3, I'll never make it there. Wow, you went?
In 1999, that was my first E3. I got to see a cool midway like basketball cage. I remember that. I believe that was the E3 where they introduced the Dreamcast.
I was in awe at everything. I tried everything. I played Just Dance, you know, the Ubisoft booth was incredible.
They had me just in a roller coaster simulator, and I was bad at that somehow. I don't know what happened.
Probably similar to a lot of the other content creators on this show. We had to sneak in, man. We was little kids. Like, I was in high school.
Nintendo was handing out posters. They handed out like a Zelda poster or something, and I was like, yes! And I framed it immediately and put it up on the wall, and I was like, I got that at E3! Don't even act like I didn't get it at E3. There it is right there.
The time that I went to my first E3 in 2016, I think I called in sick that day. I was like, you know, you turn on your sick voice. Yeah, I just don't think I'm gonna be able to come in. I'm sorry. I don't work there anymore, so I can't get in trouble for it, so the story's out there now.
It was just so surreal to walk in and see something that I've been watching for so long, and it's there, it's in front of me, and I'm in it.
The cosplays, I loved meeting new friends, I loved the panels, I loved walking on the showroom floor and just seeing all these new things.
It was just unreal, and it really solidified a lot of feelings for me, knowing that I wanted to be in this industry.
I had all this swag on me from one of the halls where I played a whole bunch of games, and then I get to the next hall because I wanted to go in there and see what it was. It was the one with Sony and Microsoft and also Nintendo. And the dude at the door stopped me and was like, hold on, let me see your badge. And I was like, whoa, and I showed him the badge, and he said, what's your name? And I forgot the name on the badge.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brian Altano. In today's Fix, we get our first look at Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Far Cry's most iconic villains are back and badder than ever, and Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hopes has been officially revealed by Ubisoft after Nintendo leaked it themselves yesterday. I'll get to that in a sec, but first, here's my friend Stella with some news about the upcoming Avatar game. Take it away, Stella!
Official 2022 will be taking us back to James Cameron's epic science fiction world in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Following a similar announce then delay then wait forever precedent set by the Avatar movie sequels, we first heard about this game 4 years ago. Based on what we saw in today's Ubisoft Forward presentation, it looks like this action-adventure game is set in a first-person open world featuring the Western Frontier, a part of the planet not previously seen, home to the franchise's signature living, reactive alien biome. While the game stars new characters, it's clear from the trailer that it's still humanity and mechs versus the Na'vi and the wonders of nature, with a strong focus on air combat. Somewhere, Max Scoville is thrilled by this news. Developed by Ubisoft's massive entertainment studio, Frontiers of Pandora promises to utilize the Division Snowdrop engine to expand and deepen the Avatar universe in exciting and innovative ways along with the films. Massive reportedly worked in partnership with James Cameron's production company and Disney, which could mean a game very close to the world of Pandora that we know, and different from Massive's other titles, notably Tom Clancy's The Division, and an upcoming open-world Star Wars game. The game is being developed for next-gen consoles and PC, and yes, this is what we got instead of Beyond Good and Evil 2. At long last, my dream of delivering Far Cry 3's famous insanity speech myself is coming true. As previously leaked, Far Cry 6's upcoming DLCs will explore one of the Far Cry series' most enduring elements, the villains. The DLC Season Pass will let you play as Vas Montenegro from Far Cry 3, Pagan Min from Far Cry 4, and Joseph Seed from Far Cry 5. All three previous villains were shown along with surreal first-person gameplay seemingly set in worlds that exist within each big bad's terrifying mind. All three charismatic characters seem to be surprised by the fact that they're present, but happy nonetheless to be back causing havoc. And so are we. That's not all for Far Cry 6's Season Pass, it will also include Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon in some form. This much-loved 2013 standalone expansion for Far Cry 3 featured a retro-futuristic world and parodied many 1980s action genre elements. Ubisoft and Ari Shankar recently announced a Netflix animated series spin-off called Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, so it's a somewhat surprisingly good time for Blood Dragon fans.
Thanks, Stella. I cannot wait for Far Cry. Speaking of colorful games full of terrifying villains and nightmare animals, the Rabbids are back and they're teaming up with the iconic Italian plumber Super Mario once more in Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope, officially coming to Nintendo Switch in 2022. We actually got an early look at the game yesterday ahead of Ubisoft's conference when Nintendo themselves leaked the game on their official website. How dare you, Nintendo? It wouldn't be a Mario & Rabbids game without a leak happening. That's part of the tradition at this point. Either way, the first game was surprisingly awesome and also a sales hit, so here's hoping the next one is even better, even if Rabbid Rosalina is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my entire adult life. Anyway, with E3 now in full swing, what are you looking forward to most? Are there any games you're hoping to see on stage? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Brian Altano, and that was your Daily Fix. Now that you're all caught up in the news, make sure to check out the rest of our E3 coverage on YouTube, across social media, or even on your smart TV. Download the IGN app on all your mobile devices, and subscribe to the IGN Daily Fix on Snapchat for all things, everything else, video games, E3, and scary-ass rabbids, IGN.com. Thanks for watching.
篝火营地是中国领先的游戏媒体，创立于2018年，致力于为全世界的中文游戏玩家提供专业、精准、迅速的资讯情报。篝火营
As a part of Play for All, GameSpot will be bringing you the latest gaming news and announcements, interviews with developers, the biggest press conferences, and lots more. Play for All is our yearly online event that combines the excitement and announcements of E3 with charity live streams the following week with lots of special guests who are going to help us raise money for able gamers. So join us in June for E3 and Play for All on GameSpot.com, YouTube.com/GameSpot, Twitch.tv/GameSpot, and as a part of E3's official broadcast. See you then.
And a big thank you to our sponsors at DoorDash. Get more from your neighborhood, from restaurants and convenience to grocery and corner stores. All right. We got a lot to talk about, sir.
We do.
Back for Blood. I don't
Can't
think we
wait.
said that together.
We have to. I mean,
Yeah.
Back for Blood's all about cooperation, getting out there, be the cleaners, take on the ridden.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to Damon, and I was like, "Oh, you used to kick Greg's butt
Oh, I
in
saw.
Left 4 Dead," and
Yeah.
he was like, "No, we played together." And I was
That's what
like,
we do. We're a team. All right? That was the Game
"Aw."
Scoop squad, ladies and gentlemen. We weren't
Aw.
tearing each other apart. We were tearing up them zombies in Left 4
Yeah.
Dead, which is why I'm so stoked to see Turtle Rock return to this and come out and do Back for Blood. And so, yeah, we're on the precipice of this presentation. What's interesting, if you're not over on Twitter keeping up with there, they just put up a post that I think is interesting, explaining more of their online content and keeping the squad together, as they said. They're going to do it that if the party leader has content for PvE, which means, of course, if they've bought something, it'll be available to the entire party. So if you want to do an expansion, not everybody has to own it, just party leader does. And then for PvP, the question was, how do you keep it from being pay to win? They're doing a thing where all the PvP additional content you can get for free by progression. So you could pick it up by, you know, cosmetics, unlock it right away, but if you want to, you can earn it for free in the game too, which is a great look.
You know what's been really interesting to me about Back for Blood is that, you know, with some games we see them trickling just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Black Panther, that was kind of happening.
way too
Sorry, I know
soon.
that
That's way too
stings. I
soon,
apologize. I apologize. But Back for Blood is the exact opposite. They're like, yo, we want you to know exactly what this game is about. We have gotten very long descriptions about all the cleaners.
Yep.
We've gotten a very inside look at the ridden as well. And I have absolutely loved everything that I've seen.
Yeah.
The cleaners are extremely varied in abilities, but I'm gonna be quiet because
It's almost time.
It's time.
That's the thing. Everything I've seen has been a PvE thing, which is why I like it. So let's talk about PvP. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Back for Blood showcase.
You know, there was a little while ago when WB Games had reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of the reveal of Back for Blood, and I knew what it was, and I was so excited about what this game is, and it's the reason why that I'm so stoked for everyone at home to enjoy this. So coming up next, WB Games is throwing you smack in the middle of the action with their gore-fest shooter, Back for Blood. So grab your weapon of choice, because here is WB Games, Back for Blood.
Thanks, Golden Boy. Hello and welcome to the Back for Blood PvP Showcase. If you don't already know, Back for Blood is an upcoming 4-player co-op zombie shooter made by the creators of Left 4 Dead. Today we're diving deeper into the new PvP mode called Swarm, how it works, and what you'll be doing, maybe even a little bit of strategy. We'll also talk with Turtle Rock's lead game designer on Back for Blood, Brandon Yanez, to help piece it all together. Before we get there though, let's start off with the reveal of a brand new PvP trailer and see what it's like in action.
Here they come!
That looked intense. So there you have it, guys. Back for Blood's PvP mode Swarm. To hear more about it and to take a deep dive into the gameplay and the mechanics, we have Turtle Rock's lead game designer on Back for Blood, Brandon Yanez. Brandon, can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration of this new PvP mode and what makes it fun and unique?
Of course, so just like our previous titles, we really enjoy bringing new ideas to the table while retaining the spirit of the genre that we're working in. So Back 4 Blood's PvP is heavily inspired by our previous titles that mix survival, fast action, massive monsters, and a touch of horror. So our goal is to make a balanced and fun PvP mode with just as much replayability as the main campaign.
So what's the structure of the PvP like? Do you play in rounds? Can you play as both cleaners and ridden in one match, or are we swapping between the two?
Yeah, so it's played as a best-of-3 match. Teams of 4 take turns swapping between the ridden and cleaner players. The job of the cleaners is to scavenge supplies, find a good place on the map to fortify their position, and try to last as long as they can. Okay. The ridden's main objective is to kill the cleaners as fast as they can. So this is achieved by choosing the right ridden to counter the other team's strategy, using mutation upgrades, and by coordinating attacks with other AIs and players. As the round progresses, the swarm moves in, so this increases the size of the ridden attacks and shrinks the playable space, sometimes forcing the cleaners out of their favorable positions, right? So when a cleaner team is wiped from the field, the points are scored for how long they survive. Then both teams swap, and then they go at it from the other side. The team that runs the clock the longest as the cleaners is the winner.
Now, I understand you can play as all the different cleaners in both co-op and PvP. Do you have a favorite character that you play as?
So I have a couple. I play Mom a lot. She's a badass with a sawed-off shotgun. She adds a lot of survivability to the team. She can also instantly help teammates that have fallen during battle. All of our cleaners have special perks, so that one is hers.
Let's jump into another trailer that goes a little more in depth on the ridden's progression through PvP. Check it out.
Discharge! Ah, shit!
Okay, so Brandon, we just saw that each different ridden has their own variants as well as their own mutations on each variant. So can you expand a little more on these special abilities and how they work?
Sure. So at the start of each round, players can choose between 9 playable ridden, each with their own unique abilities. So for example, the Stalker can pounce a player and pull them away from their team, or an Exploder can time their detonation in the middle of a group of cleaners and fling them all in separate directions.
Now, knowing that each ridden has these different abilities, how do they change and improve throughout a match and improve the ridden's chance of winning?
So as the ridden battle against the cleaners, they gain points. They can spend these points on team-wide upgrades called mutations. Mutations upgrade and improve a lot of different things on the ridden side, from adding effects to their abilities. They might buff the common AI waves in size and strength. So the really cool thing is, so they affect the whole team, and they persist between rounds. So as a ridden team starts to coordinate their upgrades, things can get pretty wild.
What are some strategies that the ridden team can take on in order to get a leg up on the competition?
If the cleaners are really sticking together, you can swap to the Wretch and vomit on their location. That's going to cause them to spread out, right? This is going to open up a whole bunch of opportunities for your other ridden players to attack, right? So if you get them to spread out and there's a Stalker nearby, Stalker uses the Chaos to grab one of the cleaners and drag them off into the swarm. The Wretch's vomit also slows their victims, so if a tall boy who's naturally pretty slow can attack one of those slowed characters, they're going to really be able to pummel them. Another good one is if a exploder waits for a cleaner to go revive their friend, they can use that as an opportunity to charge in and detonate on them, sending them flying and doing a massive amount of damage.
Whew, sounds pretty brutal. So with that being said, which is your favorite Ridden to play as?
That has to be the tall boy. It's pretty easy to pick up and play, and I have a lot of fun hitting cleaners across the map.
Speaking of fun, let's talk about weapons. Now, throughout the trailers, you can see a number of different weapons. Can you go a little deeper into what those weapons are and how they work?
So we really wanted to expand on the amount of choices the player had in Back 4 Blood with their weapon. So of course there's handguns, shotguns, LMGs, SMGs, sniper rifles, and a whole bunch of other types of weapons, each with sort of like a unique character feel to them.
Now, how deep does this weapon customization go? I really want to know. What are some of the different attachments and options, and how do they change the gameplay overall?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different customization options for your weapons. So throughout the world, you can find scopes, silencers, stocks, sights, all that good stuff. You can mix and match them, so there's a ton of options.
Last question. Do you have a favorite type of weapon?
Absolutely. So as I said earlier, I really enjoy playing Mom, so her shotgun is definitely at the top of my list.
Ah, that's a solid choice. All right, we've learned a little bit about how it all works, the cleaners, the Ridden, the mutations, as well as how the customization works for the weapons. Thank you so much for joining me, Brandon, and for giving us a little bit more detail on Back 4 Blood's new PvP mode, Swarm.
Thanks for having me. I can't wait for everyone to get their hands on this game. We're all really excited.
I can't wait either. The good news is that you guys won't have to wait too long. There's an open beta coming up on August 12th with an early access portion on August 5th available to those who pre-order. That's all for today, but Back 4 Blood still has a lot more to reveal in the coming months, so stay tuned. Bye.
And there you got it, folks. Back 4 Blood looks awesome. PvP mode, that was actually a pleasant surprise for me. When I played the game, you know, and when the alpha was out, I think it was the alpha is what they termed it as. It was, you know, a single player, cooperative, right? That kind of experience, Dan. But, you know, I love me some good old fashioned unorthodox PvP types of games. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I played an irresponsible amount of the versus mode in Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, in which you get to be both the monsters and the player characters. And Swarm mode that's exactly what I wanted from this game. And I like the wrinkle where you're going to die no matter what, like you're actually in a horror movie. At least that's what I would do in a horror movie. I would just perish immediately. But here, you have to try and rack up as big of a time as possible and challenge the other team to beat it. I think that's a cool conceit.
Yeah.
And like really, it makes it feel distinct from the campaign mode like you might see in the previous game. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and Avali, you and I, we both come from an esports background. You know, I see something like that, it looks different, and we know Turtle Rock's history, having tried different games and different unorthodox multiplayer games in the past, but I think that there's some potential there for some fun competition.
I think that, I don't know if I see it as like a full esport, but like a Twitch Rivals or something, or like some fun competitions, like we get a couple G4 hosts together.
Shameless
we
plug.
start playing, shameless plug. I got you, Jerry. Shameless plug, and then we all play together, we're the zombies, we're the good guys, and then we do it in real life.
No, I wouldn't want to do that in real life, especially not after the week we had. Damon, though, I know you're a single-player guy, but I know you also played a decent amount of Left 4 Dead. So because of this Back 4 Blood, what I like about it is, yes, it is, you know, a PvP, but it still pulls back to the single-player experience very well. And I think for that reason, it should appeal to folks who maybe don't really want to dive into PvP, but enjoy, you know, the gameplay mechanics.
I think there's actually a character or a class just for people like me in the PvP, and that's the Exploder.
Yes.
I'm going to die a lot, but if I can take out a few enemies with me, I don't mind dying so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's all right to just run up there, blow yourself up a few times. You know what, man, Michael? It looks like it's going to be a good time. Do you feel like this is something that you can pick up and play repeated sessions of? Like,
yeah, I miss having that game where I could just like play with my friends back home and just be really loud and ignorant over comms. Like Left 4 Dead is 1,000% that game for us. We could just wild out on Discord or whatever. But it's really exciting in the sense that, you know, when you think about it, Left 4 Dead was a source mod. And so, like, Turtle Rock obviously made their bread off that, but the production values of Back 4 Blood, you know, this is their opportunity to kind of bring back that magic of Left 4 Dead, but like do it on a much bigger scale. And like that presentation that we saw, it's like, yo, we're going all in on this mode with all these classes, these different characters. Yo, it's going to be wild and all sorts of stuff. So it's really promising because that format, that foundation is strong enough already. That can carry a new game, but if you put on like a lot of mechanics on top of that, sold.
Yeah. And funny enough, we did not mention that Back 4 Blood was also on the Xbox press briefing as well. Yeah. So you actually saw a few of the different elements that are going to be coming to this game. Something that I love, Avali, giant monsters. Giant monsters always a plus.
Oh, giant monsters are freaking amazing. You saw, I think they said like 9 playable ridden that you can be fighting. The huge monster that we ended up seeing, which was like the size of a building, just came in. So I'm trying to figure out like, okay, cool. So we're co-oping this. We're getting in there. We're taking him down together. But then also very excited for the PvP moments because I just can't wait to just throw up on friends. Can't do it in real life, so may as well do it in the game.
That's what's up.
Are you sure you can't do it in real life?
Well, you have a mask on, so it's just going to be like...
We're trying to be COVID safe, GB. Thank you very much.
Totally.
But no, I mean, it just seems like such a fun game. The last time I played Left 4 Dead 2 was quite honestly in middle school, and all my friends were older at me and just yelling at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. I now see some of the mechanics that Michael was mentioning, being able to kind of like throw up on people and move them out of their hiding spots or trying to like separate people from the rest of the squad. I can't wait to like, with my newly formed adult brain, try to implement some of these.
Well, you know, if there's one thing a game like Back 4 Blood is good for, it's good for yelling at friends and having a good time. And one friend who I love yelling at, it's Greg Miller, who's over with Jackie. Greg, take it away.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Always a pleasure to yell at you. Avi's newly formed adult brain.
She's so sweet.
At
Our
what
little
point does
baby.
it form? At what year does the adult... you know what we want? Let's keep talking a little bit about Back 4 Blood.
I was going to say, all of ours is still forming,
Exactly
so...
right. I'm
yeah,
doing
we
more,
still got a long way.
I'm hurting mine more than I'm helping at this point, I think. What did you think? PvP, Back 4 Blood.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love everything I've seen with Back 4 Blood. Since the first trailer, to be completely honest, and then I've just been like tracking every single YouTube video that I can get my hands on. And actually the co-founder, Phil Robb, it was like in some YouTube video and he was like, you know, we've had to sit back the last 10 years and watch other people riff on something we created. And I feel like he's like, y'all, I'm bringing it 100%. We're gonna give you cleaners with depth. We're gonna give you ridden with depth.
Of course.
You know, we just heard Avali and we heard Golden Boy talking about the potential for esports here. You know, I was talking to you, I said, wow, do you think there could be the potential for that? So a lot of people thinking that as well. I think they're bringing their A game and I have loved everything I have seen.
I adored Left 4 Dead, but I only played it co-op. I've never been the PvP person.
You're a lover, not a fighter.
Well, it's interesting to get to this point now, you know, in 2021 and talk about this and look for what we just saw from this presentation, because I can see me and my friends playing that. I can see Kinda Funny doing streams of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this round, you know, best of 3, switch sides, go through who can clear it the fastest in the time, it gets really interesting really quickly. When you have somebody, and I think also about how I guess you know, since as old as I am and as long ago as Left 4 Dead 2 was, the way my gaming preferences have changed, because I still think of it as Left 4 Dead and what I did with Left 4 Dead, but in reality, right, there's, for me personally, been Predator Hunting Grounds, there's been Friday the 13th, there's been these different things that are challenging me and my friends groups to go at it, and then switch up the teams, right? When somebody like Snowbike Mike comes in and is way too powerful and is too good as a cleaner, we'll put him over on the ridden side and have that try to balance for it. I thought it sounded really good. I'm right there with you. I like this idea of, one of the things they were talking about is, you know, for every round, the area of play shrinking. So that it does become, you've sat there, you've established your base of operations, and now you've got to move all the way over there.
You know I'm all about that battle royale, so I was like, okay, I'm here for that for sure. So who do you think you're gonna pick? I was leaning towards Holly with the bat. You know me, I'm all melee over here.
I'm with the shotgun. I mean, that's a pretty good one, right? You know what I mean?
Mom with the shotgun. You can't beat that for
And then,
sure.
I mean, what about when you think of the Ridden? Who are you thinking?
Honestly, Avali stole my pick. I want to vomit on people.
Really?
I do. I'm just like, that was too fun. Though being the exploder could be. I agree with Damon as well. That could be really fun.
See,
too.
Crusher, I think I'm in line for. Get him, squeeze him, go. But again, it'll be about building, teams together. 9 playable Ridden, a whole bunch of different stuff.
Oh my goodness, we could talk Back for Blood for days. I have like pages
Yeah, I know,
and
right,
pages. But want even more details, Back for Blood's lead producer sat down with our partners at Reddit for an in-depth AMA. Check it out.
We are going to be supporting this in our up-and-coming beta that people will be able to play this August. And of course, we also fully intend to support that for the launch of the game. We're going to be supporting 2 modes, PvE and PvP. PvE is your more traditional kind of style, where you're going against the AI with the 4 cleaners against the Ridden, and then PvP is where you can fight against other players online. In PvP, we have a separate progression tree that we call the ZMS, which is the Zombie Mutation System. As you play through the game, we grant points to players depending on how well they're doing during each round. And then they're kind of free to spend those points on upgrades to the different zombies that we have, just so we can, they can make them more powerful, cleaner killing machines. Indeed, there's actually going to be plenty of other stuff to keep cleaners occupied. When you're going from safe room to safe room, we're going to have special events in maps. We're going to have some lulls when you're not always getting hoarded by tons and tons of zombies, so you'll have time to explore each map, explore each area, where you'll be able to look for loot or upgrades or attachments to weapons, all that kind of thing. And we'll also have some secondary objectives in each of these maps that players will be able to complete. So yeah, as you say, ADS wasn't in Left 4 Dead, but we're certainly fully aware that a lot of games these days do support that feature. It's pretty common. So it's something we definitely wanted to include so players have that option. And I believe we do have some cards that can disable ADS if that's kind of not your thing. Ooh, I'm probably going to go for 3 different cleaners, just to be awkward. I know you only asked me for 1, but I like playing Mum a lot. The quick revive is super handy. Walker's great because he gives you that extra boost of accuracy, which I need every now and again, I have to admit. And the Holly extra stamina is super useful. Stamina helps you get away from some sticky situations. And I guess speaking of sticky, for the Ridden, I love playing the Hocker, like hiding up on rooftops during PvP, checking where you see the cleaners are going to try and hide out, and then trying to stick them from afar, and then that kind of sticks them in place and allows some of the other more up close and attack Ridden to get some free hits in while they're trying to free themselves. So it's a lot of fun playing that Ridden and helping out the team with coordinated teamwork. Yes, thank you so much. We're really excited for the beta and the launch of the main game. It was pretty amazing that Warner Brothers gave us the opportunity to make this game. And then, as you said, the atmosphere in the studio at the time was electric, and it has continued to remain so, even though we've developed this game in somewhat unusual circumstances. These Ridden can certainly mutate into all sorts of different shapes and sizes. So, who knows what monstrous thing they might turn into next. We won't be supporting that at launch, but you can of course queue in with 3 of your friends into PvP. And I think it's important to point out that during a match of PvP, you play different rounds. And then at one point you will be playing as the Ridden, and then at one point you'll be playing as the Cleaners. So, you know, you're going to have a chance to pick off Ridden during a normal match of PvP with 3 of your friends. We would love to support split screen, but right now it's something that unfortunately won't be available at launch. We don't currently support that, but you can build different decks with the card system, and that will give you the option to take, you know, maybe like reload speed you like, which another character has. So you can add that to your deck, and you can start customizing your character that way. So you would have similarities to some of the Cleaners' abilities. Okay, thanks for hanging around. Give me the opportunity to answer